How good is Discovery Series number 13? Well, let's blind it against the best of the series and find out. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Hutch, and thanks so much for joining me on this journey through the world of whiskey. So recently, Bardstown Bourbon Company released their Discovery Series number 13. It's the next in a long line of a pretty well established and highly acclaimed series. It's their more limited special release each and every year. Now, in the past, the series has been a bit hit or miss, especially in sort of the middle numbers, but lately they've been on an absolute roll. So what do we got in the lineup here? Because we want to put number 13 against some of the best of the series. First of all, we got the number 8 in the series. This was the first one I tasted. I think it's pretty well considered one of the stronger of the entries, but still sort of a mixed bag for some people. But then you get to the 11, which we've got in the blind, and the 12, both of which have received rave reviews from essentially everybody across the whiskey world, been considered for Whiskey of the Year by many, including myself. That's because the 11 has a 13-year-old component that drives this whiskey. It's the main component, thought to be maybe a wild turkey product. And then you've got the 12, which has a 14-year-old, 1 year later, 1 year older product in it. That's sort of the star of the show. The 13, again, the newest of the releases, has a little bit younger blend overall, does have a 15-year-old component that's the same as the 11 and 12, but a little bit older. It's only 20% of the mash bill. Then the most interesting layer of this is they've double barreled this particular one in Hungarian oak. So this is the first time they've double barreled a Discovery Series, and really interested to see how it turns out. The 11, 12, and 13 are all just Kentucky bourbons blended together. The 8 does have some Canadian whiskey. One of the best things about Bardstown is the transparency here. So it's got Indiana, Canadian, and Kentucky whiskey. Really interesting. So we're gonna blind these 4 against each other in a quest to see which one's the best. I really enjoy all these bottles, and also with the new release of the 13, see how that one stacks up compared to some of the strongest entries in the series. I am not going to go through the exact mash bill details on all of these. I may put that up on screen, or if you're curious, you can just look it up, because Bardstown, again, is very, very transparent. But in the interest of time, let's dive in, let's get these bottles off the table, and let's set up the blind and see what comes out on top. Okay, so we've got our blind set up here. It's not a double blind. I do know what's in this matchup here, but I have no idea what the order is. All of these have also been opening up for the last 15 to 20 minutes or so. So even though they're higher proof, they should have had adequate time to kind of get ready for this blind. We'll start all the way down here on my right, your left, with glass A, and then we'll work our way down and we'll call this one at the end glass D. Let's dive in with glass A. We'll start on the nose, then we'll go to the palate. So glass A on the nose. Nice. There's a rich cherry note to this one right off the bat. Touch of an astringency, but a cherry oak core. I can anticipate a little bit of spice. It's coming across on the nose. And then there's like an interesting citrus, lemon, orange, citrus thing going on. It's living in the world of a little bit brighter notes, more fruity, but has a nice oak backbone to it. Okay, let's go in to glass B on the nose. Huh. Okay. Completely different. Way more brown sugar and richer oak. Chocolate. Almost like hot chocolate. A little bit of a simmering barrel spice. Vanilla, but big brown sugar. Really leans in. It's almost like a cookie dough experience. Okay, let's go into glass C on the nose. Ooh, wow, that's some powerful oak there too. Gives off more of a presence of age on this one. So it's like, it's almost a medium between glass A and glass B. It's got more oak, but some of the brighter notes too, like a cherry and vanilla power to this one. But the oak immediately jumped out to me, like a nice, rich, sweet oak. Cool. Yeah, again, I feel like I can almost see how this one's related to glass B, but not quite as dark, just more of a complex. And then it's got that cherry and vanilla and oak, but the sweet oak really came through on that first nosing. All right, last but not least, glass D. Interesting. Wow. So this has a density to it. Oak for sure. More of a orange citrus, cherry, sweet oak. Again, reminding me a little bit of glass A, but a darker feel to it. Maybe slightly more muted, but it feels like the most complex. Touch of honey. Okay. Yeah, they're all really solid noses. If I had to say I'm leaning towards something here, honestly, it might be glass C. That sweet oak note just really jumped out. Glass B is definitely the most different. The others have similarities, and they all share some similarities, but glass B is definitely the most prominently oaky and dark. But the nose is one thing, the palate's something completely different. This is where we're going to get a lot more information. Let's go into glass A on the palate. Cheers. Wow, that is really good. Brown sugar, almost like a caramel apple, caramelized sugars and apple sweetness. Oak for sure, and cherry. Really nice. And this one has a spice to it, like a simmering feel all across the palate. Very strong opening. Let's get some water. I will get water throughout the whole process between sips. And let's move on to glass B. All right, so glass B here. Again, rich nose for sure. Cheers. Wow. Delicious as well. Way darker. Big oak, but like a darker, denser oak. Chocolate, as kind of came through on the nose, that hot chocolate. A little bit of simmering spice, but far less of a spice than glass A. And just way more like a barrel presence, and brown sugar and butterscotch and caramel. Just leaning way into this candy bar, really sweet, but then kind of rich oak experience as well. Really, really good. Very different from glass A. This is a lot of fun. We're gonna keep going. Let's go to glass C. All right, glass C, let's see what you got here. Maybe the strongest nose. Let's dive in. Cheers. Wow. That is a nice sort of bridge between glass A and glass B to me, but its own thing as well. Oak, big oak, but a sweeter cherry oak feeling. This one has like a chocolate note, but it's more like a chocolate covered cherry. So again, cherry, vanilla, oak, and a little bit of spice. That's at the center of this thing. That's winning the day and sort of the star of the show. Glass B is far darker and more chocolatey and brown sugary. Glass A is a little bit spicier and brighter. We'll go on to Glass D now. Let me get some water and then we'll finish out this first round. Okay, the final sip of round one. Glass D. Cheers. Well, holy crap. This is this is gonna be so hard to decide. So that one had the oak, that orange citrus zest on it as well. But the cherry is darker, like a black cherry on this one. And then there's a slight, along with the oak, there's a slight nuttiness, like a candied pecan, peanut, but like a darker, richer peanut experience here, like peanut brittle. And that one lingers for a while. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, this is gonna be tough. This is gonna be tough to make a choice here about what I like the best. So give me some time. I'm gonna go back in reverse order. I'm gonna do A/B testing. I'm gonna come up with my order here today, but you can rest assured, all of these are great whiskey. So I'm gonna fast forward through all of that because it would take forever if we kept that all in. And then I'll give you a recap and we'll talk through my final order here. Okay, everybody, that took a while. I went back in reverse order. I did A/B testing. I actually had to take a break, get some pretzels, get some water, reset my entire palate, and then kind of go through it all again. So usually it takes me about 10 to 15 minutes to continue to discern. This one was more like 20 to 30 minutes of just really experiencing all of these, which hopefully gives you confidence, and I can say fully, all of these are delicious. They're just really, really good whiskey. But I do have to come up with an order. So ultimately, I have done that. I have come up with what I think is my ranking today. So let's just dive in. In fourth place for me was Glass A. I think the nose here was maybe one of the weaker noses. The palate was really good though, with that apple, cherry, a spiciness to it that was really nice. It helped it linger. But just compared to these other three, it wasn't as distinctive for me today. I really don't know what these are. I will say, I feel like I have a sense of what the 13 is. The Discovery 13, my guess is Glass B. It just really stands out among the crowd. The other three, though, kind of all jockey for different complex flavors at different times. But Glass A just felt like the least strong of all the contenders. Let's see what it is. Okay. That's the Discovery 8. I had a suspicion it was a little brighter, a little spicier, but man, that apple, caramel, cherry power to it, so delicious on the palate. The nose was not quite as strong. All right, let's move on to third place. For me, the nosing experience really came down to Glass D and Glass B. I really love the noses on these, but third place for me ultimately was Glass B, which again I think is the Discovery 13. The nose is so rich with the oakiness, hot chocolate, brown sugar experience. It's just the least complex and maybe the least like developing and rich on the palate for me. Again, I think this is the 13, but let's see. Glass B in third place was, okay. That indeed is the Discovery 13. It sticks out among the crowd. I will say that with the double barrel experience, you can tell The nose on this is awesome. The palate is really, really good. Super oaky, super caramely, butterscotch, and chocolate. But the complexity of what's left and the richness of the oak and the sweetness just shined today. But the 13, very, very good. That does leave us with the 11 and 12. I literally have no idea which one is which in this. They were going back and forth the entire time. I felt like the nose on Glass D was really, really strong, but the palate on Glass C was just unbelievable, like so, so good. So ultimately, that made the decision for me, and my winner was Glass C. Let's see what that was, because that'll reveal both of our final contestants here. It is not surprising that the 11 and 12 are standing out among the crowd. I think this might be the 12, but let's see. On the palate, it just was the best. Let's see what Glass C was, our winner. Wow. Okay. So 11 came in second place, and 12 won the day. Glass D, the 11, was an amazing nose, and then the 13 has an amazing nose. But then you taste the 12, and the oak note, the richness, and the dark cherry power, and then just extra layers getting added in there of continue to have more of this like honey, peanut brittle, and the dark cherry experience. Glass D, the 11, is really, really good though. These were neck and neck the entire time. So 12 stands out, the palate, the developing experience the best. 11, very, very good. Maybe just a hair below the 12. And then the 13 is kind of its own whole new experience with totally standing out among the crowd. That double barrel gives it way more richness, dark chocolate, caramel, butterscotch experience, but it's very distinct and much less complex. And then the 8, much brighter, fruitier, more of that apple and cherry gorgeousness to it, but just not quite as rich and dense as the other 3. So that's my order today. The 12 still reigns supreme. It is highly lauded and loved for a reason. The 11 continues to be a heavy hitter. I will say, I think the 13, while distinct and while different, is very, very good. And then the 8, just a classic. I love the profile on it, but doesn't quite live up to the density and richness of the other 3. So hopefully that gives you confidence to trust that the 13 is still very, very good, but in a different lane. And if you do happen to have a 12 or an 11, or if you see those out in the wild for some reason they're still available, just grab them. They're so, so good. Would love to know in the comments below if you've been able to taste a lot of the Discovery Series. What are your personal favorites? How do they come out in terms of ranking and order? Always fascinated to hear. While you're at it, hit the like button on this video. That's what gets it out to the most people. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Bourbon Hutch. We're trying to reach 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Would love to get to that 4,000 milestone soon, so help us get there. If you're watching a lot of the content but not subscribed, that's a lot of the viewers on the channel. Please consider joining us for the journey. Till I see you guys again for another video, all I can say is keep drinking good whiskey and cheers.